Hey everyone, welcome back. Happy Friday. It was a good Friday nonetheless. Well, it was a pretty good week for us overall. Bitcoin was up, miners were up as well today, pumping nicely, except towards the end of the day, they kind of pulled back a little bit, but still a really good day for Bitcoin and miners. We'll take a look at some, well, we won't really see any short data, but I'm thinking the shorts are starting to sort of cover a little bit here. No news from the miners as well, so they've been kind of quiet here recently. Kind of what I would expect as we're getting close to them reporting their fiscal year-end numbers for Q4 along with that. But yeah, it was a nice day. It was a nice week for Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners. We'll take a look at some market cap stats as well for the miners, comparing that to the BTC that they mined here, or the revenue that they had over the last 3 quarters, or sorry, not the last 3 quarters, the last 3 months and the last 4 quarters. So basically last year for 2024, how that all compares. We'll get into Q&A. We'll call it a day. Should be pretty easy here. But as always, you guys know the drill, not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that, as always. Hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what happened today with Bitcoin. Bitcoin had a great day. It was up nicely. It was up over 5% on the day. It closed out being up only 4.13%, but it was at one point like 5.5% up on the day. Got as high as 105,970. So we're definitely having a good day here. And you can see this week has been actually pretty good for us. We're up nicely on the week so far. If we look at the week, on the week we are up 10.46%. So it's a really good week for us. We're kind of coming back up here, which is nice. We're above the 100,000 mark as well, which is also good. RSI is looking pretty good also. I was looking at the 15-minute chart here today. We can see that Bitcoin was actually going up as the RSI was coming. Well, we had a little dip here, right? RSI went down, but then we went up even higher with the RSI being lower at that point. And then we've been kind of trading sideways here a little bit for the last couple hours during the day here. So things are looking pretty good here, I think, for Bitcoin and time frames that I'm looking at right now. I don't see anything that's going to give us any headaches, I don't think. We'll see how it does over the weekend. But we have the holiday on Monday, which is Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday and holiday there. So we're going to celebrate that. Markets are going to be closed at that point. Trump takes office on Monday as well. That should be really good. And then I think Bitcoin possibly could be pumping here, obviously, maybe through the weekend a little bit, and definitely into Monday. I think it's going to definitely pump on Monday, which then I think will create some definitely short squeezes on some of these guys that are shorting, like Cleanspark, Marathon, Riot, who else is in there, like Wolf, all those guys that are highly shorted right now. Those guys should do well. I mean, we saw a little bit of that action happening today, so I think a little bit of it has already started to take place in that form. We are, like I said, getting closer to the fiscal year-end results for a lot of these guys. They're going to be reporting in February. Some of these guys are going to be reporting their Q1s and Q2s because they have a different fiscal year-end. So that's going to be interesting here, happening in the next couple of weeks as well. And I'm really excited what we're seeing here right now. Time will tell if this plays out the way I think it's going to play out, but I believe we're still going to go up much higher from where we are right now. Just a lot of adoption happening, everything else. So things are looking good for us. I'm excited. I'm happy. I hope you guys are too. Right. So miners, for the most part, did pretty good today. MicroStrategy also did really good, 8.04% on the day. Bitfarms was up just a little bit here, 2.4 was up higher. It was around 5% at one point, but it came down towards the end of the day here. Like we saw a lot of the miners come down here towards the end. BitDeer as well. BitDeer was actually down today, 2.97%. That was the only one that was down out of the big miners here. Then we had Cypher being up 4.4, was up higher through the day as well, and then came down. Cleanspark was up over like 10% at one point. Then you can see here it was up to a high of 1240 today, came down as Bitcoin's coming down at the same time. If you look at Bitcoin chart here, you might, we can't really, let's see, what time was this? Around 2 o'clock, right? It started around actually 1:30. So if you look at Bitcoin here at 1:30 time, it's going back to here. 2 o'clock, right around there, there's 1:30 right here. So Bitcoin's still going up, but the miners were front running Bitcoin a little bit here, going to the downside. And then we saw Bitcoin actually go down as well. But CORZ was up 2.53% on the day. Hive was up just a little bit here, 1.59. It also came down from where it was as well. HUT, you can see that also came down towards the end of the day. It was up only 1.24. It did have a much better, I mean, it was up much higher than where it ended up at. IREN, same thing, 4.72%. I mean, that one definitely came way back down to where it started out more or less. Mara was up 8.8. At one point, it was up like 12%, 13% on the day. That one gave back a lot of the gains there towards the end of the day. And then Riot was up just slightly, or 0.75%. I thought this thing was going to go negative here on us for some reason. But that one was up nicely as well today. It had a high of 14.43 and it closed at 13.39. So $1 down from where it was at the peak there. And then Wolf was up also nicely today, 9.4%. It was also higher on the day. And as I was watching this stuff play out towards the end of the day, I'm like, man, the shorts are definitely trying their hardest to keep this stuff down as much as they can. I think we had the options expiry on a lot of these guys as well today. So they did their best, but they couldn't keep the miners down. So that was nice to see. Some of the smaller miners did pretty good today as well. Digihost was up 20%. It's had a pretty good run up here recently. It was up also 16% the day before. I mean, so that one, for some reason, is doing really well. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, but it got to, it looks like maybe a new all-time high here. No, but close to it, at least. That one's been doing pretty good. Not sure why. If you guys have any insights or if I missed something, let me know on that one. And then the ETFs did actually pretty good today. So overall, it was a really good day for us. I'm happy with it. I hope you guys are too. Right? We need a lot more of these days. I think I calculated that we would need at least another like 20 days like this, I believe it was, if we went up, 8-10% on a day to get to where we want to get with these guys, to the higher ranges where I've been talking about. So is that still possible? I think so, right? But it's not going to be a straight line up. It's going to be a bumpy road along the way. But nonetheless, this is really good. I'm happy, like I said. So that's all I got here on this. And then let's take a look at really quick the network hash rate. This is the 30-day average right now. We are still at 787 exahash on it. On the 7-day average, we've been kind of bouncing up and down here. We are still at 783. It's pretty close to where the 30-day average is. And on the daily, we've been bouncing up and down here. We've been as low as 702 and as high as 939. So definitely a big swing there as well on that one. Next, we can see here the Bitcoin transaction fees have been improving here over the last couple of days here recently. They've been going up, which is nice to see. We had also the hash price here going up. It is now, right now, at $60 per petahash per day. So that is a nice improvement here. We were as high as 63 in December, but nonetheless, it is going up. I like seeing that. That's a good sign for miners also. They're going to be generating a heck of a lot more revenue. And Bitcoin staying above 100,000 here for Q1 potentially. That's going to bode even more revenue for these guys. So we talked about that. Okay, Bitcoin right now for the month of January is up 11.48%. Looking good. Much better than what we had in December at least. We're halfway through it, so we still have another half to go. We'll see where it ends up, but right now it's looking pretty good for us. It looks like it might be actually a positive month for us. We'll take it, whatever we can get. And then finally here, the last thing we're going to take a look at is the miners market cap here comparison over here. So market cap here, Mara has the largest market cap, 5.8. And this is as of yesterday. I forgot to update this for today, so we're off a little bit here on it, but not much. About 5.8 billion here, almost 5.9. Riot is in second spot with 4.4 billion. CORZ at number 3 spot with 4 billion. Cleanspark number 3 spot with 3.2. BitDeer at 3 billion. Hut 8 at 2.4. IREN at 2.27 roughly, and then TeraWolf at 2.25. Cypher 1.8. Bitfarms way down from there, 736 million, and Hive even lower at 406 million here. Shares outstanding, you can see that Bitfarms has the most shares, 448. TeraWolf second with 385 million. Then we have Cypher 347. After that, we would have probably Riot 332, Marathon 321. Then Cleanspark 292, CORZ 279. And then we go down to IREN with 198, BitDeer 143, Hive 129, and Hut with 93 million. Okay, so then when we look at the 3-month revenue divided by market cap multiple, we can see based on what they generated here in the last 3 months, so December, November, and October revenue, we can see that Bitfarms is getting the lowest multiple to their market cap for the revenue that they generated, only 13.6, followed by Hive with 15.2. Then you got IREN at 20 multiple, Cleanspark at 20 multiple as well, Mara at 28, Riot at 34, Cypher at 35, CORZ at 51, Hut 8 at 55, TeraWolf at 63, at BitDeer 80 multiple. That's definitely a little crazy here on what they're generating here. And for BitDeer, I'm only including also their revenue for Bitcoin mining. I'm not including any revenue for their other operations that they have for the cloud mining and hosting and things like that. So that might actually lower it down if I include that as well, maybe down to half, maybe around 40 or something like that. And then we look at the 12-month multiple so the last 12 months, basically the revenue that they generated in 2024, divided by the market cap. Now you got Hive at 3.6. multiple, Bitfarms at 3.9, Cleanspark at a 7 multiple, IREN at 8.4, CORZ at 10 multiple, Mara at 10.2, Cypher at 10.3, Riot at 13.7, Hut at 14.9, Terrawolf at 15.9, and BitDeer at 19.4. All right, so some of these guys here I think are definitely getting way overvalued, and maybe some of these guys are way undervalued, right? So the ones that are undervalued, I would imagine that they would actually do well going forward here, but we'll see if that's the case, right? And then some of the ones that are actually overvalued, those guys are going to possibly lag a little bit. At least that's my thought process. I could be wrong on this. The guys that are still looking like they're overvalued here a little bit right now could, in theory, still perform really well, right? But could they be beaten out by some of the ones that have been undervalued? It's possible, right? That's kind of my thinking there. Some of these guys that have been beaten down, shorted to death, those guys are going to possibly run the hardest and the fastest here going forward. That's at least what we saw last cycle, where we saw these guys that are growing their exahash, growing really big, have done really well in the previous cycle. I'm expecting the same thing to possibly happen this cycle as well. But yeah, we'll see what happens here. Just another metric to take a look at to see where things stand with all of these things that we look at. And just another thing to kind of give a little bit maybe clarity as far as where the miners are standing in comparison to each other. All right, that is it. That's all I got for you guys. Let's get into Q&A. We'll call it a day after that, see what you guys have. And as always, you guys know the drill. Patreon members have access to all this, and I'll get this out to you guys later on tonight or tomorrow sometime. And I'll update the latest stock prices on these guys as well before I do that. So that's my to-do list here going forward. But let's get into Q&A here, see what you guys have to say. As always, preface your questions with a Q. And I'm going to scroll up a little bit here on it, see if there's any questions that are up there now, and then I'll work my way down. So I'll try to get through all your guys' questions as well. And again, thanks so much for coming in here on a Friday night. Greatly appreciate you guys for doing that. All right, let's see what do we got here. Andre says, miners were all dumping like an orchestrated attack today. Most of the charts lulls the same for the last 2 hours short attack. Yeah, definitely looks like it to me, right? Bitcoin's also go down a little bit there, so that could be part of it, but yeah. Let's see here. SDIG Inc. I guarantee you shorts aren't covering it yet, nor are they scared. Time will tell. I don't think they're scared, right? I think they're going to be covering regardless because they know that the quarterly results are coming out. Those will be really good for them, for the miners at least. So it doesn't make any sense for them to go short on these guys. Let's see. Lucy Picker says, if Bitcoin hits 200,000 this year, I think all the miners' market caps will more than 3x like HC Wainwright says. 3x, yeah, that would be great. That's kind of what we're kind of thinking here. All right. Let's see. Road Schooling Across America has a question. Do you know when acquisition of Stronghold by Bitfarms will be complete? They've stated it's supposed to be this quarter, Q1. So they have a little bit more time to get that done here, but that's kind of what they stated. So they still have basically 2.5 months to get that done. And then let's see here. C has a question. Your excuse for miners not being up where they should be because of having almost a year ago. However, you ignore most miners were up far higher when Bitcoin was 40K. Yeah, that was before the halving event. I mean, they were running with Bitcoin at that point as well. So there's a lot of things that go into it. It's not that cut and dry with them. You have exahash that you have to contend with, right? Because that's network hash rate is growing. You also have another part of it is the price of electricity they get, the miners that they install there and uninstall the older ones. There's a lot that goes into it. The halving didn't help at all. Then we also had the HPC AI potential with some of these miners, which took some of the steam out of the other guys, I think, as well. There's a lot of things that go into this. It's not, I mean, I would have thought they would have been higher from where they are right now, but they weren't. Shorting was happening, leverage plays, all this stuff, a lot of stuff. Why did the miners fall today after going up? Bitcoin came down a little bit, and I think some of the shorts were also kind of attacking towards the end there, trying to maybe cover a little bit, possibly. I don't know that for a fact, but that's kind of what I'm thinking that was going on here, but it was definitely an orchestrated thing going on there. And then Chow has a question here. Seb, do McNally's believe short squeeze could happen on Trump inauguration or soon after? What is your opinion? Thanks. Yeah, I mean, the Trump inauguration is going to be happening here on Monday. We also have the markets being closed on Monday because of Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday celebration. So that's going to, markets are off for that. So I think that might possibly be the case, right? If Bitcoin pumps on Monday, or I'm hoping it stays more or less flat over the weekend, but if it pumps on Monday and into Tuesday as well, yeah, I think there's going to be some shorts covering at that point. What else do I have here? Okay, Digihost comment. Share float is 30 million total and management has a few million, so the supply has been absorbed over the past year. Digihost also diluted 25% over the past 4 years, approximately 6 million shares. Okay, so that's why you're thinking that stock's going up because of that? I'm not sure. What else? Neil says Riot makes 36 cents per share for Q4 numbers. Is that what you're talking about there? And Revender says Tuesday miners will pump harder. I'd love to see that. Definitely would love to see that. As long as Bitcoin cooperates, right? If Bitcoin goes up on Monday, goes up even on Tuesday as well, then yeah, I think the miners are definitely going to pump at that point. And then Rick has a question here. Seb, you said this would be a good day. Do you see any further roadblocks for the parabolic rise in miners? Oh, there's always going to be roadblocks. There's always going to be somebody that's going to want to try to short them, whatever, hedge them, hedge their bets and things like that. So I think there's always going to be something there. But I think with Bitcoin going up, and that's one of the biggest roadblocks there is Bitcoin. If Bitcoin doesn't go up, then miners aren't going up. So we really do need Bitcoin going up in order for the miners to go up as well. So if that happens, I think they will follow suit as well. And we saw that here the last couple of days. Bitcoin is up 3-4%. The miners were up 8%, 9%, 10%. So they're doing like a 2x on average on Bitcoin as it is here. And then let's see here. Ed says, you missed my question. I did. Sorry. Okay, here it is. I did. Gosh, see? Got too many things happening here. Hi, Seb. I am not too familiar with the short stuff. How often the short reports come out? Is it monthly? The short report that I get comes out every 2 weeks. There's paid services I think you can get that will report it daily, I think. Gets updated like daily for those things, but those things are expensive as far as my understanding is. Bloomberg Terminal, I think you get that information relatively like almost to the minute, I think, on that stuff. But yeah, it's definitely going to be, we're going to be waiting on that information, especially since it's happening now. We probably won't get that, whatever happened here recently, not until the end of, the report will come out January, the last day of January 31st, I think. And then we'll get it like a week later after that. It will be available to us. Okay, let's see. Okay. So question here. Seb, MicroStrategy is also heavily shorted as well, right? Do you think a short squeeze could happen on them too? I don't know if they are heavily shorted. I don't really track them. Let me see. Hold on. Let me pull this up. I got to pull this up on my phone because I don't have them in here. Let me go to my app here really quick. Let's see. What's the latest report on them? MicroStrategy, MSTR. Sorry, bear with me. Where is it at? There it is. We'll put it into my watch list. Done. Okay. Let's see. All right, MSTR. What do we have here as far as options? Or see if we can find an analysis company. Let me see if I can find a short interest here. Short related technical analysis. Oh man, I don't see it here. Sorry. It's not in my Webull app here. Company, Sage, what is that going to be under? Options, chart. Nope. That's why I like using the desktop app, but I don't have it up and running here or logged in. So let me see. Where else can we find that information? Let me see if we can pull it up over here really quick. Bear with me. Let's see, miners, visual stock. Let's see if we can find it in here. This one, what do we want to look at? MSTR, MicroStrategy. Okay, let's see here. Screen. Let's see if we can find it in here. If there's anything on short interest in here. Cash price. Product license revenue, subscription, support revenue, net income, cash flow, shares outstanding, cash debt, operating expenses, institutions. Let's see. I don't see it. Oh, short interest, 10%. 10.36. So it's actually less than what some of the miners are. Some of the miners are like 25, 26% short interest. So it's not as high as it is for the miners, based on this information at least. I probably should have pulled that up in the first place. Okay. What else do we have here? things got up a little bit above me. Okay, got that. Okay, MD has a question here. I have sold some MicroStrategy and put the money into existing Cleanspark and Mara shares. You think it was a good idea? MicroStrategy was up, but miners were going down at the last hour. Felt it was manipulative. Yeah, I also believe it was manipulative at that point. But also Bitcoin was coming down a little bit, but I think they were front-running Bitcoin at that point. You could see it where the miners started to go down like 15 minutes to half an hour before Bitcoin actually started running. But do I think it's a good idea getting... I do think some of these miners will outperform MicroStrategy here in the next 3, 6, maybe 9 months, right? And that is only because of the revenues that they're going to be generating here. As long as Bitcoin stays above 100,000, goes to 150,000, maybe 200,000, whatever it might be, that should be the catalyst to drive them up, I would imagine. But yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see. But I think that's, I mean, I probably would have done the same thing, actually. So I think that's okay. I think that's good. Omar says, BTC ETF flow hit an all-time high today of 600 million inflow today. Nice. All right. That's a good sign for us. Okay, let's see. So follow up. So the last short data that was circulating on X, is it for the first 2 weeks of January? So they are dated now. It was for, no, it wasn't for the first 2 weeks. It was for the last 2 weeks, or ended in December 31st. That's the data that we have there for that. So we're behind 2 weeks roughly right now. Let's see. Sarmelon Gaming, Seb, why didn't that pop up? There we go. Seb, is this it or what? This might be a start. I'm not going to get too overexcited about it until we see a couple more days where we're, doing nicely. Bitcoin gets above 108,000. We're hitting new all-time highs. And then I'm going to say, yeah, this might be the next rally up, basically, rally up for it. Okay. Did you have a chance to finish Hive video on McNally Money? No, I did not. I actually went to bed afterwards. I was just too tired. I did not. That is actually one of my things to do here for this weekend. So if anything, I'll comment on about it on Sunday's video. Let me write this down for my to-do list. Hive, comment, okay, on Sunday. I'll give you guys my thoughts on it. I know the team there at Hive is great and everything else. I have no qualms about that. Their operations have always been great. It's just for me personally, this is just, and I could be wrong on this completely, right? For me, it's always been about growth. And yes, they're going to about 15 exahash next year. But again, I think that's just going to be maintaining the status quo of being basically 1% of the network hash rate. So would I love to have seen them grow to like 30 exahash, which they still could surprise us and do that, right? There's nothing saying that they can't do it. But right now, this is kind of what I'm seeing here at least. Okay. Most shorted miners. The most shorted miners in my spreadsheets here. Let me see if it, oh, nice. This was nice and easy to do. Looks like my kids are going crazy with the dog again upstairs. Let's see here. Going up here, the most shorted ones, latest data that I have, this is as of the end of December here, is Marathon 26%, Cleanspark 26%, Hut 8 26%, you got TerraWolf, Riot, Core, Bitfarms, Bitdeer, Cypher, IREN, and Hive is actually one of the least shorted there, which is surprising that the stock hasn't done better than what it has, even with so little short there on them. But that is what it is. All right, go back here. Okay, let's see here. Sam has a question. Hi Seb, alts, MicroStrategy, coin are already 5 to 10x. Why miners are still 2 to 3x, especially pure play miners? Depending when you got into them. Some of these guys are up much higher from where they were at the bottom. So is MicroStrategy, so is coin, I'm sure, at that point as well. But they're up quite nicely if you got in at the bottom. But if you got into them in the last, probably I would say last year or so, yeah, I mean, they were beaten down, right? And I contribute that to the halving event that happened. That drove the revenue in half overnight. Boom, like that. Revenue's gone. Half of your revenue's gone. So the stocks definitely didn't do that well in that time frame. And I thought they were going to do actually better going into like November, into December as well, with Bitcoin going up and things like that. That didn't materialize, unfortunately. So just a lot of manipulation here in the markets on these guys here. All right. How do you get all your data on the miners, numbers of rigs and type from the press releases? I track these guys. Some do a great job providing the numbers and everything else, right? Some not so much. Some are kind of coy about it or provide basic information, right? They're getting 15 exahash, but you don't know what kind of miners are getting, and others will provide you. We're getting 25,000, these type of miners, so then you can go to the manufacturer website and go, okay, these are X, terahash, they use up this many watts, so you can kind of plan ahead and look at all this stuff. So just a lot of data digging, I guess, on my part. Okay, let's see, Omar, let's see. Let's say this was the last roadblock and we are running. How many months, weeks with ups and downs will it take for us to hit targets? I know you said 20 days, 10% up, but realistically, thanks. Realistically, I mean, you're looking at probably like 45 days or something like that. 45, I would say, to 60 days. If we have a nice rally here, Bitcoin goes to 200,000, even if it goes to 150,000, I think at that point things are going to look much better for the miners as well. But I'm thinking somewhere around that time frame. Okay. God's will here. This is the first crypto bull run I'll be experiencing. Wishing I had discovered this channel a lot earlier. I appreciate your hard work, Seb. Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for the nice comment there. Yeah. This is my third cycle that I've been in. I got in at 2017 cycle in May, so this was right before the blow off top, basically in January or December and November timeframes. But then I played around with it also in 2011. That was a weird cycle altogether, and now we're in this cycle, so third time around. So hopefully the third time's a charm here. Let's see, Coyote Log Homes has a question. MicroStrategy planning to raise dollars by issuing preferred shares. Do you think the miners could do the same? I thought they were... Who reported recently here? Wasn't it Terrawolf? I think they reported something similar to that just this week, I think. They're going to be using some shares to do that. I don't know if they're preferred shares or not on it. But yeah, I mean, MicroStrategy's trying out all things, convertible notes, all that other stuff. So miners could possibly follow suit as well. I don't know. Okay, what else do we have here? Okay, let's see here. Question, did the Trump block that Mara made today matter? No, I don't think it mattered. I think it was just very symbolic, or I think it was just a symbolic move, right, by Mara to do that, put that out there. One, it advertised Mara for their capabilities of what they can do, but also to celebrate Trump's incoming presidency here. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then, can you help me understand what that meant, or given me your opinion? Yeah, it's basically symbolic on it, and it might be something that we see in the future where they do this kind of stuff on the chain with these blocks and do these little drawings of presidents and things like that. That's kind of cool. Okay, Omar, question here: do you think BTC all-time high is just one positive Trump pump away? Possibly, right? Monday, if he puts out a executive order. Banning the sale of all Bitcoin that the U.S. government holds. Oh my gosh, that might be a good catalyst there. And then also them working on Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. That seems to be progressing quite nicely as well. He's got the mandate, so it's just a matter of what he actually says. A lot of people are going to be listening to what he has to say and what executive orders he provides as well. Let's see here. Ed says, I watch every executive video on McNally. I find Hive, CORZ, and Digital teams are the least sketchy. Hive, yeah. CORZ, yeah. Digital as well. I would also include in there Cleanspark, IREN as well. But no, Cleanspark goes on there. I don't know if IREN does. Not often, at least. Then who else do you have there that's really good? I think Ben has been doing a pretty good job here recently. I wish he would provide more information, though, but I think he's doing a really good job on that part. Who else do we have there? That I thought was good. CORZ is definitely good. Riot, right? We need to see them. Well, basically, we need to see Jason there be held to his word that they want to get to like 95% uptime. So we need to see that. Mara has done a lot better job here recently as well. So there's quite a few that have been doing much better, but the sketchy parts are like that I think of are share-based compensation, huge bonuses, right? That's a little sketchy, but a lot of companies actually do that. But yeah, I would agree that McNally and Anthony, they do a great job of getting the executives to show up and answer some tough questions as well. Okay. Let's see. Cleanspark said 50 exahash by the first half. Do you have more insights into what sites currently under development? Which month we could see that? They provided some information in one of their last press releases, actually. I don't have it in front of me here. But they listed the sites they're working on, the sites that are being done and things like that. But I can't think of it off the top of my head here. But look in one of their recent releases, press releases. Okay, question here. I am 5x on my HOOD shares, 1,000-ish. Would you convert into Cleanspark IREN Mara shares? Already have lots. If it were you, if you would keep the HOOD shares going forward, am I getting greedy? Boy, I don't really track HOOD, so I don't know how well it's done here recently. Let me see if we can look it up here really quick as well and see how the stock is done. Where is it at? Let's take a look at HOOD. Robinhood. Okay, so let's see here. Let's go to screen. So HOOD's done actually pretty good, actually. Yeah, started out, this was going back to 10. Let's do 1 year on it. Yeah, from basically, where was it there? $11 all the way up to 48. So it's definitely getting advantage of Bitcoin price going up, the volatility and the trading there. That's helping the stock there. Could the stock still do a 2x? Possibly. That's definitely possible. Could the miners do better than that? That's also possible. So that's your call, right? It's never a financial advice here. I just look at what I possibly think might happen. I'm not always right, but we look at everything that we can. All right, what else do we have here? Let's see, Random has a question here. Thanks for your hard work, Seb. You're very welcome. Do you still plan exiting miners only and holding onto BTC for another cycle, or do you plan on selling your BTC this cycle as well? No, I'm holding onto that. I'm holding on to Bitcoin until we get to like 1 million plus. And even then, maybe I won't sell it if I don't need to, right? If I do well with the miners, excuse me, miners are there for me to pay off my student loan debts, my cars, maybe at that point, just have a lot less payments to have to worry about and just live a lot less stressful life in general. Right? I want to kind of simplify my life as much as I can. I got kids, that's stressful enough as it is, but simplifying in terms of financial responsibility and what I need to worry about. So if I can do that with the miners, do really well, and then if we can repeat this process again with another bear market and go into a bull run, I would love that. Right, rinse and repeat, do it again, and still hold on to my Bitcoin. That's the goal. The only way I would sell Bitcoin is if something tragic happens in my family or in my life or something like that where I actually need it for whatever reason. That would be the only way. Right now, it's just like a security blanket, and it's a nice security blanket. What else here? Okay, I talked about that. Chris says BTC dumping now. It's not dumping. It's only down 0.44%. It's not that bad. Chris, don't be so dramatic. Okay. Question. Do you think Trump will actually mention crypto on Monday, or he will wait for another day to talk about this subject? I think he might mention something. It doesn't take much to mention it, or like I said, he might just do an executive order, right? He's supposed to do like over 100 executive orders. Could one of those be something on crypto? There's a high likelihood possibly, right? Let's see here. If you held IREN, Cleanspark, Wolf, and Cypher, which position would you sell first if you had to? Well, depending on, okay, so let's just say that they're all even, spread out, right? So if you got 4 positions, let's say that they basically contribute 25% to your portfolio, each one individually. At that point, I think, and this is just me thinking, right, my own thoughts here, I think IREN and Cleanspark might run more than Wolf and Cypher. Wolf has had a nice run here in the last 6 months, whatever it's been, 7-8 months, because of the HPC AI potential there for them. That has been more or less solidified, right? We know that they have a customer there, what they're getting from that, and things like that. So the only thing that's going to possibly grow them further, in my opinion, is Bitcoin price going up here recently, right? And into the future here, as they grow a little bit more their hash rate. and then them getting more HPCI business from other customers as well. So I would probably sell Wolf and Cypher, and probably add into Cleanspark and ARM. But that's just my thoughts on it, right? You got to do what's right for you. Any thoughts on MicroStrategy creating more shares? Concerned about midterm effect on the stock price. Yeah, I mean, what did they ask there for to get another 10 billion shares? I think it was. Yeah, I mean, there's gonna be some dilution there for sure. I don't know exactly how much. Could have an impact on the stock. It could, right? There's always fear. Whenever there's fear of dilution, it typically or historically holds the stock down a little bit, or at least keeps it tapped down a little bit, right? All right, let's see. Rick has a question. Do you think the next bear market will be more muted than in the past? Do you have any estimates on bottoms for Cleanspark and IREN? That's the $1 million question right now. Will we have another bear cycle like we had in the past where Bitcoin goes down 70%, whatever it's going to go, and then miners go down 80, 90%? I just don't know. And the reason I don't know that is because of all the adoption that we're seeing here this year. Well, last year and this year as well. ETFs, right? Nation states getting Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Our country possibly doing it. States doing it. The ETFs, companies buying it. You got a heck of a lot more companies buying it now than in the past, putting it on their balance sheet as well. So there's just, there's more adoption. With that adoption, I think comes the likelihood that we'll see lower or shallower drops. So instead of having the typical drops in the bear market where we saw 70% or something like that, we might only see a drop 30, 40%, maybe, if that. So that's something that I'm definitely keeping an eye out this year, going into this end of the year, and then definitely next year. Because I think if we had a typical cycle, we should be ending somewhere around September, October as the peak, or we might front run it here and peak earlier, right? We might even peak before then, and then if we start drawing down, well, then we might have a similar cycle as like in the past. But if it continues to go up towards the end of the year and beyond, then to me, it's going to look like a different cycle. We could be in an extended cycle at that point. All right. Let's see. Pitt says, hello, Seb. I think the shorts will get hit if Bitcoin makes all-time high and market is closed on Monday. Yeah, I think so too. If that happens, yeah. Yeah, FT says, I don't think Uncle Larry will allow the 80% drop. Yeah, his high clients will definitely not be happy at that point, right? And you're talking about high net worth clients and things like that. You don't want to make those guys upset. So, yeah, that's another reason why I think, the big guys are in it now, the institutions. The institutions are controlling it. Will they let it drop 20, 30%? Yeah, they'll, that's not too bad. But I just have a hard time thinking that we're going to drop down to 50, 70%. CFT says, I can see a 50%, but no more than 60% pullback during any bear cycles. Yeah, I mean, that would be on the lower end where I would possibly see things. I would think maybe like 40, I think maybe 40% would be doable. But beyond that, it gets definitely a little bit more problematic for them, I think. You're going to have some people questioning it and maybe looking to exit at that point. So not something that they want to do, I don't think. Okay, let's see here. Sean, Sebastian, what is Ben's problem? My God. So you're talking about Ben Gagnon at Bitfarms. He got into a CEO position of a company that had issues, and he's trying to fix those issues, and we'll see how he does. He's only been there for, 6 months, 7 months now as the CEO. So that's not a lot of time. We need to give him a little bit more time, I think. Okay. That says, let's see, that one's not the one I wanted. This is the one I wanted. Question, what, with that 78 gap not filled, doesn't that tell you that we are going to have a bear market again? Not necessarily, right? I mean, gaps like to get filled, but they don't have to get filled 100% of the time. There is a high likelihood that they do get filled, but it doesn't have to be 100%, especially when we're going up. So, then, it can remain there. So you're talking about the semi futures gap. Yeah, which I know it's there. We got close to it this past week. We didn't get all the way down to it, but we got close. If you look at it here, going back up here, BTC, I mean, we got to 89,000. We really need to go down another 10,000 to really fill it here. Or, yeah, 88,000, whatever it was. So, but I don't, we had gaps when we were going up here in the prior cycle as well, and those actually did get filled later on. But now you got so much institutions and everything else. I don't know. My original thought process was Bitcoin's going to go to 180,000. This was before the ETFs, all that stuff, and then we would fall back down to like 67,000, something like that, like 57,000, 67,000, somewhere around that range in a similar bear market like we would have. But we'll have to wait and see if that comes to fruition or not. Okay, what else here? Let's see. Is Bitfarms doomed? I'm holding a huge bag praying for a miracle here. I don't think they're doomed. I think they need to, one, provide us with some answers as far as what's going on with the hash rate growth there. Why has it stalled? If they can fix that issue there, their Paraguay site, they're also building that out. That should be operational by the end of the first half. That should be increasing their hash rate there. They're buying Stronghold here in the first quarter as well. So that gives them some optionality there as well. And if they also announce that they're moving to the United States as their headquarters, that might be a good catalyst there as well. So I don't think they're doomed quite yet. And they had a pretty good run here. Kind of keeping up with Bitcoin here today. They did pretty well yesterday. Kind of outperforming Bitcoin a little bit here. So I don't think they're doomed yet. I own also a lot also. So just so you know. Okay, next one here. Any rumors Trump would wait for the bear market to buy BTC? No. What if you never get a bear market, right? That's one thing that I think they should, if anything, save the coins that they have there on that are in custody right now. Don't sell those. Buy more if you want to on top of it, but yeah, buy the dips. Okay, next one's here. D says, my experience is that short sellers are very smart and do extensive research. I predict the short time high is in again. Not financial advice. Okay. You might be right? We don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of days, let alone what's going to happen in the next hour possibly with Bitcoin. Which is Bitfarms coal-powered sites. They don't have any right now. When they buy this Stronghold out, they'll have two sites. I think it's Scrubgrass is one of them, and then there's the other one. I can't remember what the other one name is, but they'll have two at that point. Okay. Do you still have the exiting plan to start at 150,000? Yeah, that's kind of where I'm still thinking I'm going to start slowly taking profits, 5% here, 5% there with the miners, and as we go up, I'll continue to cost average out basically. It's still the plan. Let's see your question. What are the chances of the 7,500 Bitcoin in the landfill will be recovered? Oh man, yeah. I mean, that's definitely worth a lot. I feel sorry for that guy there, having lost all that. Well, yeah. Will that be? I don't know. I would like to see them allow him to try and find it. I know it's costing him money and everything else and time. And the more time it takes, the more it might make it more difficult to recover those. So, yeah, I mean, that's definitely going through a lot of stuff. They're trying to find it. And as long as it went to that waste site there, if he's 100% sure on that. Sean, yes, that is it. Let's see. Question, do you believe Ben is in hiding because if he does an interview, the bad press will kick stock price? He'll probably show his head in an interview once hash rate online. I don't know if he's hiding. Right, I don't know what their thought process is there. I know he did the investor. Who was that with? That was this past week. Oh gosh, you guys know what I mean. He did an investor presentation. Basically, it was recorded and online actually for us to watch. And then, I mean, he came on with Bryce and Anthony. Just a couple. What was it? Was it a couple of weeks ago now? I can't remember. But he's been going on there as well, so I don't think he's hiding. And I think he's been on another show as well at that point. Okay, let's see here. Andy, Ozzy. So I paid for the annual membership now, December, but I can't access anything still. There is no one I can contact and nothing is being done. All right, reach out to me through my email. You can find my email on YouTube at the About Me page. Find my email there. Reach out to me there. I'll see if I can help you out. If you pay for the annual, you should definitely have access to do it there. And if anything, I'll try and reimburse you for like a month or two or something like that for it, if I can. But reach out to me there. I'll definitely try and help you out. What else do we have here? Okay. Update. From 208,000 down to only 127,000 now. Remember, miners are on one side of the Bitcoin coin. 208,000. I'm not sure where you're getting the 208,000 to down to 127,000 now. I'm not sure where that's coming from. Okay. What kind of alcohol do I drink there? I personally like Absolute. I've had the other ones, the Belvedere, the Grey Goose, but for some reason, the Absolute, I like that one the most. Let's see, should I continue to buy Bitfarms, IREN, and Cleanspark at this price? Follow your opinion. Well, you definitely have to never follow my opinion on this stuff, right? I provide you guys my thoughts on it, but you still have to do your own research and due diligence on these things. Don't just blindly follow me. Please never do that. I'm okay if I lose money. I hate for you guys to lose money. So that's always there. I've been buying. The last time I bought was about 2 weeks ago. Right now, Bitfarms is kind of on hold for me. I want to see what they do in January. Do they actually install hash rate in January? Right? They didn't install anything in December here, so they're on hold. If they don't install anything in January, I might sell actually a portion of what I have and buy more into IREN and Cleanspark at that point. That's kind of what I would do, right? But you have to do what's best for you. Let's see. On power mining analysis, Bryson Anthony gave a strong argument that a short squeeze on miners may occur given that all the elements needed for it are present. What do you think? I'm also thinking the same thing. Yeah. I've always thought that the shorts would be in for as long as they possibly can, and then tables are going to switch, right? Or they're going to start to cover their positions, go a little bit more longer, because you're battling against a force that you don't want to battle against. Bitcoin going up in value, them generating a heck of a lot more revenue. You can't say that they're not profitable when they're providing you a strong EPS numbers, right, for the quarter. So how do you can't combat that. You gotta be nimble. You gotta be able to rotate in. So I do think that's going to happen. Do you think Ben should be waterboarded? No, I don't think anybody should be waterboarded. No. Okay. See, the elements they cited are shorts interest at least 10%, positive momentum, and sudden price change that may occur on an accretion. Yeah, I would agree there. YOLO Gambler here. Question, Seb, when you get ready to sell, what do you think using the money cover call so you can grab a premium when your miners are sold at your chosen strike price? See, now you're getting to like more advanced stuff, which that's a little bit above my head right now. I'm a simple trader. Buy, sell, that's it. If I had more time, I'd definitely like to get into some of those more sophisticated plays. And maybe in a couple of years, I'll have that possibility there. I don't know. But right now, it's just simple for me. Made a profit. Let's take some profits off the table, sell the shares. I'm good that way. Let's see. Revenue says BTC going to head on 25,000 Tuesday, and miners will be 2x. Love to see that. I would definitely love to see that. 125 by Friday, so next week 125,000. Okay, that'd be fantastic. All right. Let's see. Why is Wolf so strong? Wolf has some very reputable investors in there. Druckenmiller, right? I think that's how I pronounce it. Druckenmiller. There's another one in there as well. So that's kind of helping the stock out there as well. And then they're positioning themselves to go more into the HPCI play. So I think that's also kind of helping them out there as well. Okay, let's see. Seb, are you still buying Bitcoin this bull run or just miners? Just miners for me. Bitcoin for me, my average is really, really low, like sub 10,000, right? So it's kind of like I could buy more into it, but now it's at 100,000. I think I can possibly do better with the miners as far as gains. So that's kind of why I'm doing it that way. Bitcoin that I have there, I'll hold on to it. If for some unknown reason we dip down to like 50, 40,000 again, okay, then at that point, that becomes a little bit more interesting to me to maybe buy more in. Excuse me. Do I have any position in MicroStrategy? I do not, no. Regrettably so. I should have probably bought a little bit of that as well, diversified into that and the miners as well. But yeah, I think it's done really well here the past year. Definitely outperformed a lot of these miners here. But I do think the miners will still outperform MicroStrategy here in the next, 3, 6, 9 months, whatever it might be. Okay, let's see. Are you going to hold Bitcoin for a long run until you can pay for things directly with it, like mortgage or student loans? Well, no. Bitcoin for me was going to be like my retirement plan. Right? I'm not counting on having Social Security because I still got like 25 more years of work ahead of me. So I'm not counting on that to be around at that point unless we really fix the country and our spending and everything else like that in the next, I would say 20 years or something like that, right? So Bitcoin has been for me like a security blanket, basically. That and my retirement plan as well that I have through work that I put into it as well. That's been doing really well this past 2 years. So that's what I've been kind of using that for, right? But if Bitcoin goes up to like 2 million or something like that in the next 5, 7 years or something like that, well, at that point, I may take a little bit off. Buy a little vacation house someplace in the woods or something like that with a nice stream or a pond and, enjoy life that way on the weekends or something. But yeah, for the most part, it's just going to be sitting and collecting dust for the most part. And then I'll use like the miners to, when I sell out of those, to pay off my student loans, cars, things like that. Let's see, next high for Bitcoin is 116,000. Okay, when do you think that might happen? We got some people saying we might get to 125 by Friday. And then hold MI, I am 47 this year. So I'm getting up there in age. But I still feel young. So I think that's the most important thing. No matter how old you get, as long as you feel young and you want to do things, you want to continue to learn. I think learning is also an important part. If you're always looking to learn new things, you're going to forever stay young, I think, at that point. Let's see. Will we see Bitfarms pumping if BTC makes a new all-time high, or they need to show an increase of hash rate? Why this share is so undervalued, I don't understand. There's a lot of stuff, right? Riot still owns 19% of them. Yes, I do believe if Bitcoin goes up, they should go up as well. Them reporting higher hash rate should help also, right? So it's those types of things. And we just need to see them reaching their targets. Their targets now is 21 exahash by the end of the first half. It was supposed to be here by the end of 2024. That got pushed out. We don't exactly know why, other than, some sites in Paraguay, they have whatever it is, 60 days for testing, 40, 60 days for testing. Those two sites have to be basically brought online relatively close to each other so they can do that. Okay, and so that's one explanation, but what about the other stuff, right? Why couldn't they get the machines over to Stronghold? How many did they install there? We don't have a lot of information there, so I think that's the reason why it's been kept down. Plus, in the past, it was board issues with the board there, CEO being let go, then suing them, and it was just one thing after another. But their operations have always been great. That's the only bummer there, that they've had all this other negativity around them. And then let's see, what else do we have here? Let's see, question: will you still live stream about something after this bull run and keep the channel going? I think so. I enjoy doing this. I don't know how you guys feel about me doing this stuff. I really appreciate you guys coming in here, but I enjoy doing this. It gives me something to do. Right? Instead of watching TV, I learned something. I read about the miners. I got into knowing more information on nuclear reactors, micro reactors. Those what do they call those? SMR, small modular reactors. Learn more about that from being on X Spaces. Learn more about nuclear. Learn more about HPC AI. Right? What does it take to get a tier 3 data center, tier 2 data center? So it's just all this learning process that happens along with it. I enjoy it greatly. So I think I will. And we'll talk about the miners even if we are in a bear market, right? To see how they're doing. And maybe at that point, maybe we'll short them. as well. We'll kind of kick them in the butt a little bit for the heartache that they gave us here this past year. But I've never shorted stock before, so that might be something new that we do, or that's something that I do as well. But yeah, as long as I enjoy it and I have fun with it, I'll continue to do it. But yeah, we'll see. All right. If there is an SBR, so a strategic Bitcoin reserve, do you think they will sell all at the top or hodl? I think they will hodl, right? Are they selling gold? Right? I don't think they sell gold at the top. I think they're just putting it in a strategic Bitcoin and a strategic reserve there, and that's it. Wherever that price of gold is at that point, they still have it. It's not like they're selling it. So I think they'll hold on to it, but I could be wrong on that. Let's see. Angel says, if you live stream about other stocks, I'll definitely tune in. Okay. So one of the things I might look into would be like the EV stocks, small modular reactors. That's definitely interesting for me. Some of the space stocks. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with these guys here in the next, I would say, year to 2 years. I think it'll be a good tell, especially after this year. I think it'll be a good tell if we are going back into a bear cycle, or if we have an extended cycle at that point. If we have an extended cycle, man, these things are going to be kind of crazy to keep an eye on still. Let's see. What is the worst investment mistake you made during your lifetime, if you don't mind sharing? Oh, sure. Let's see. I tried penny stocks. I tried the pharmaceutical penny stocks. Lost probably like maybe $10,000 to $12,000 at that point, but this was much earlier on. So that was a mistake there. Round tripped Hive, right? So I got into Hive in 2017, late 2017, and everything Bitcoin was, I didn't have as much knowledge as I do now about the Bitcoin cycles and everything else. And we thought Bitcoin was going to go up even higher beyond the 19,000 it went to. So I got into that, dollar cost average down on that one through 2018, 2019, 2020, just to ride it, round trip it again in 2021 because people are saying Bitcoin's going to 100,000. So I think the biggest thing I learned was I got to take profits, right? That's the biggest mistake that I've learned there on it. But it's luckily always been money that I could do without. So I was never putting like my family in jeopardy because of it. We couldn't afford food or anything like that. It was always just some spare change that I was trying to invest and learn from, I guess you could say. So definitely learn on that. What else have I learned as far as investing? I've learned that you should definitely dollar cost average in or start investing much earlier on. So I'm teaching my boys here, my oldest one especially, that any money that he makes, we're putting into an account where he can invest it, or at least whether he buys the S&P 500 or something like that, just invest it. The more faster you can invest money, the better you're off you're going to be in the long run. So that's another thing. But those things are never taught to you. They're not taught to you in school. You only get taught those things by yourself or like a family member, something like that has actually gone through it. But you don't learn these things in school. Unfortunately, I think that's a big disservice to the youth. Unfortunately, I think that should be when you're 17 going onto 18 or something like that, that should be like hammered into you at school at that point. This is what you should be doing with your money. Instead of spending it on frivolous things, invest it, because that's going to have huge, you're going to be able to reap the rewards later on from it. So that's kind of the things that I've learned over my lifetime here, at least. Okay, let's see. I can't wait to make money on Riot on the way down, huh? Let's see. Yeah, the growth conference. Thank you so much. Yeah, in New York a few days ago, Ben was more on building out his sites for energy capacity, more for HPC. He did mention since they didn't hit the 21,000, that's why the stock is down. Okay, yeah, so he's kind of upfront about it. But yeah, thank you for stating that. I forgot where that was. Let's see. Kalshi is showing a 70% chance that a strategic Bitcoin reserve could happen. Looking bullish, everyone. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. I thought there was a pretty high chance of it happening. I wouldn't say it was going to be 100%, but I thought maybe 65 and higher that might happen. So that bodes well for us, right? This year is definitely going to be interesting, I think, and exciting. as long as things go our way. I mean, CPI has been coming down here recently. That's good news. Employment's doing good. I think the stars are aligning for us, but we'll see. All right, that is it. We'll call it a day here. We're going on almost an hour here. Just 1 minute shy. Bitcoin's down a little bit. Obviously, it's down 0.61% here at 103,476. We'll see how it does over the weekend. Like I said, I'd be fine with Bitcoin just going flat on the weekend. Don't want to have any big moves to the upside or the downside. Downside, okay. Upside, not so much, because then we have another gap on the CME futures. So I definitely would want to see it flat. And then Sunday night, which would be the new day for Bitcoin, which would be for Monday, that would start going up. That I think would be fantastic. But yeah, we'll see. So I wish you guys all a wonderful weekend. Enjoy it out there. Touch some grass. Get away from the screens a little bit. All this stuff is still going to be here come Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday next week, where we'll cover the miners. We'll talk about what's going on there with them as well. We'll see. Maybe I'm going to be at work on Monday, so I can't do the live stream for President Trump's inauguration, but that might be kind of cool to do. But I won't be able to do that. But we'll cover it. We'll see what he actually does there. But we'll come back on Sunday. We'll look at the miners, see how they did this past week against the Bitcoin miners as well. All right. So again, thanks so much for coming in. Love you all. Have a great weekend. I'll see you guys on Sunday.